All right, recording is in progress and we have started the broadcast. We're going to start the webinar here in just a minute or two, give
Mhm.
people a chance to log in.
For those of you who have logged in already, if you would be interested, jump into the webinar chat, and that way you'll have it opened if you have any questions throughout the presentation. But also just let us know where you're calling in from. I'm always curious what part of the country or world, you never know,
Yeah.
that people are calling in from. So greetings from, I see that Houston, Texas, and then maybe as other people join in, they'll catch on to the theme here and let us know where they're from as well.
We'll give people a second or two to join and then we'll get started. We've noticed with these Zoom webinars that sometimes there is a lag. So let's give people a little bit of time to get into the room and then we'll get going. All right. And Ray and I are in Colorado, if anyone's interested, in beautiful Colorado.
Yep. Fresh snow on the peaks. Pikes Peak has snow on it today. The mountains west of Denver have snow on them today. So first dusting.
That bodes well for skiing this year.
Yeah. Dave, thanks for the question. We are recording this. And so if you have to drop off before it's over, we'll have the recording available afterwards. Thanks for joining us, even if you can't be here the whole time. Good to see you.
Well, let's jump in and get started, Ray. We have a few more people coming in, but we are recording the session, so everyone will get the recording as well. We're so excited to bring this topic to you. Of course, we are intuitive websites. We love websites. We feel that websites are more important than ever in this age of AI to attract your customers and to engage with them. And so we've been giving a lot of thought to what makes a website great in the age of AI. And what we're going to do today is show you those steps and get into quite a bit of detail about what makes a website great in the age of AI and give you the foundations of things you need to do today, starting today, to get ready for the future because things are changing so fast. I'm Tom Young. I'm the founder of Intuitive Websites and have been doing digital marketing for over 25 years. And with me today is Ray Cameron, who's the CEO of Intuitive Websites. And Ray, you want to do a quick intro of yourself?
Yeah, I'm not as wise as Tom. Haven't been doing this as long as he has, and that's all about wisdom. Nothing about age. Didn't say anything about that. But I've been doing digital marketing since 2007, and even for a few years with Tom in those early days, and then back here at Intuitive Websites starting February as the CEO. And fun to be partnering with Tom doing this kind of stuff again.
It's fantastic. And so let's jump in and talk about what we're going to get today, what you're going to get today from the webinar. So, we're going to give you clarity on website marketing strategies in the age of AI. There's a lot happening right now and things are changing fast. We want you to use this presentation to get clarity. In fact, the slides that we're going to present to you today are a great checklist of things to do to drive results and get that clarity. As I mentioned in the intro, we're going to give you a foundational success that needs to start today, but is going to carry into 2026, 2027, and so forth into the future as websites change with the changes in AI. We're going to talk quite a bit about website content and having a design plan for humans and machines. AI is more than a machine in some ways, right? And so we've got to design websites and content for the humans that read them, and these machines, these AI machines that are going to index them and get your brand found. And as we do in all our webinars, we're going to do the first part of the webinar as a training session. And then toward the end, we're going to look at your website and we'll give you some straight feedback on how it measures up in the age of AI. So if you'd like to have your website reviewed at the end, put it in the chat bot and then Ray and I will look through those and we'll pull out a few good examples for everybody. And we've got some examples queued up as well.
If you want to put that, if you're interested and want to put that in the chat now, well, you're welcome to do that. But also know we're monitoring the chat. If you have questions throughout, we'll keep an eye on those, and if it fits in with what we're talking about, we'll throw those in.
Yeah, and Ray, go ahead and interrupt me if you see a question come in that you feel is relevant. So
Yeah, you got
let's jump in. So Google's changing, right?
it.
Google has had the huge impact on marketing for the last 20 years. And when you think digital marketing, you have to think Google. So now Google is changing. We want to turn those changes at Google into growth opportunities for your business. And really, the way to think about this is that Google is transitioning from traditional search to AI-based search. And this is going to drive then a new approach to Google Ads and how you get found in Google. And strategically, here's the big mindset change that we have to do. The old strategy, which we've did for over 20 years, which is that we're going to have a website that's going to get found in Google. And many companies made millions of dollars doing this. But that's changing now. The new strategy is your brand exists to be found in AI mode. So this is the big sea change that's happening with Google because users are going to AI search and they're not going to Google to get listings of websites as much. They're getting brand suggestions from AI mode. So we're transitioning from search engine to answer engine. And so that's what your website needs to do. Your website needs to be this answer engine. So it's supercharging how it meets user intent. We've got to get away from brochure copy and from static websites and get more into interactive websites that are answer engines. And we've got to keep our eye on what Google is doing with the ads. In fact, if you're on this webinar, the timing is great for you because you're going to be an early adopter of the new changes in Google AI ads. And I encourage you to jump on that and start testing them as soon as it comes out because more than likely, if you're in early, you're going to get better rates, lower click-through charges, and more success. We saw this with Google Ads 25 years ago when they first came out. So the data supports this, Ray. And I think if we talk about the data we're seeing with our clients, um, we certainly can see what's happening. Ray, you want to talk us through this?
Yeah, this has been one of my favorite things as long as I've been in digital marketing is the data part of it. It's fun to write copy and do all the things that we do to for marketing, but when we get to look at the data and see what the impact is, it fuels creativity and optimization, and we're always improving things. That's always been the case. And this chart right here is one that in the past would have been very concerning for me, but it's something that we've had to embrace and people in digital marketing and business leaders have had to embrace. And what this is telling us is this is from Google Search Console, and it's showing us how many times, how many times our website, the intuitive website site, shows up in Google search results, and that's the green line. The blue line is how many times it's actually clicked. And we have about 100 Google Search Console platforms that we have access to, and we surveyed those. And depending on how precise the change was, between 20 and 40 of those sites saw a change in the March to May timeframe. And it's that spike in, or at least an increase in impressions and a decrease in clicks. Decreasing clicks to our websites, not a good thing in the past, but we have to be looking at what the positive thing is in that with impressions. It means we're being seen a lot more. It's just not resulting in clicks. And so uh, in the during this year, we've had two terms coined, brand new, never been talked about before because of this effect. One of them is called the alligator effect, and it's that visual that the jaws of the alligator are opening up, and that's what the data that we're seeing with our sites. The other term that's been coined for that is the great decoupling, and just talking about how for so long clicks and impressions kind of flowed together, and now we've got those separating. And a lot of that is tied in with Google algorithm changes, AI mode, and AI overviews that have been changing and being introduced this year.
And these impressions, Ray, what you're seeing is that these impressions are heavily influenced by AI. So these are AI impressions, they're brand
Right?
impressions showing up in AI summaries. And
Yep.
so what that tells me is that if you get a website visitor, they're more important than ever.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Okay. And this
And
is the
that's
alligator effect.
Yeah, and that's why, here we are opening up talking about Google in a presentation about websites, but they're tied together. And when there's changes happening in Google, this makes it even more important. Like Tom said, our websites have got to be running at their very best so that when people do show up, we're getting the results that we want to.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how to get AI visibility so that your brand shows up in those impressions. And then after people see your brand several times, then they're more likely to go and find your website or engage with you on LinkedIn or talk to someone from your company, right? And we know that's a fundamental truth in marketing. The more brand exposures you get, the more likely you are going to convert that person into a customer. So our goal is to get you found, get your website found in these AI searches. And we feel like AI search will eventually dominate how people research. It's just so easy for people to use it. The idea of clicking through dozens of websites or hundreds of websites, it's just so much easier for people to use an AI summary. So we've got to show up on those AI summaries. And to do that, and this is more important than ever, you've got to lead with strategy and your value. You've got to have a very clear understanding of where you sit in the marketplace and where your brand offers value. And value is not how great you are, it's not the things you do necessarily. It's the benefits people get in buying from you, right? We've got to focus on that value. And I've been preaching this bullet point for over 20 years, and that is that we got to write for the users, not our company. And I still see too many websites today that it's all about the company. The company is the hero, the company is doing all these great things. AI is going to force your brand to be focused on users and not your company. And brands that do that well are going to they're going to show up more in these AI summaries. Now, to make that happen, you've got to know where your thought leadership stands and you've got to know those key benefits. AI can help you figure that out if you don't have that crystal clear. And we want to drive toward user intent on every single page of your website. And we're going to talk today specifically about pages on your website that are more important for AI than others. And the bottom line is it's going to be all about user intent and telling that company story. And then this is something that AI is driving big time, and that is that we're going to get rid of brochure copy and these large blocks of text that we see on websites. We want to focus more on bullet points, headlines and taglines, brief blocks of text that have a lot of value-added statements, and then interactive AI tools that people can interact with on your website. So if you're still writing brochure copy for your website, that time has come to change. We don't want to do that anymore. These are the things that will strategically get you found in AI. We're going to dive into a little bit more as well, but from a strategic point of view, these are the key things. Ray, anything you would add to this slide?
I want to point out some of the stuff you're looking at, you might think, oh, hasn't that always been the case? And uh, many of these things will seem familiar to you, but the way that AI is changing human behavior, some of these things may be new or there's a new twist to them. But even if they're not new, the importance of them, of doing it well, is more important than ever. I want to touch on the thought leadership. Note that when you're doing search with AI, the results you're getting are really kind of an average of everything that AI is finding. There's nothing that AI offers in terms of thought leadership. So that thought leadership content's really important because what we're doing is separating our content out, or you're separating your content out from the average answers. And so, having a page that's just like somebody else's means you have a page just like somebody else's. But thought leadership is what's going to set you apart and help you be found.
That's right. And AI has just raised the bar on all these things. Because yeah, these things have always been important, but now AI has raised the bar and it's causing a lot of disruption in the marketplace. So let's dive a little deeper into website content. So because your brand is going to show up in these AI summaries, you've got to have really clear brand, or you got to get really clear on your brand and how you stand apart from other companies. Because AI is going to look at user intent and say, well, is this a brand that needs to show up based on that query? Your brand will show up if you're clear on how you stand apart. And that's hard to do in today's competitive landscape. But there are certain things that you can do on your website to show AI how you do stand apart. Your About Us page is a key part of this. And we're seeing the About Us page show up in a lot of AI summaries. And it's interesting to see our clients look at that and go, well, geez, that's not really accurately representing us. Well, that's because we've got to do the homework and make our About Us page a lot stronger than it is now. I also really believe that the depth of content on your products and services connected with a great About Us page will also set your brand apart. Talk about your processes, talk about your people. Talk about how your products and services are differentiated on your website. And then we love frequently asked questions. It's so interesting to see that that's been around for over 25 years. And you've got to have a robust resources section where your thought leadership sits. In fact, Ray, we've got a couple examples of some frequently asked questions pages. You want to share those? I'll let you share your screen.
Yeah, you bet. So again, FAQs is not anything new, but the importance of it is has increased. And the reason for that is in the past, FAQs were very functional and people have questions that you get often and you answer them on the page. But with AI, so much of these searches are conversational. You're asking a question, AI is giving you an answer. And so the more content that we have that's in that conversational tone, and the most obvious way to do that is with questions and answers, then it just drives the importance of these FAQ pages. So this is one of our clients, Suavecito Tequila. If you're looking to try out a new tequila, it's one that I'd highly recommend. Finished off a bottle with a few friends in a weekend, so well worth it. But this is questions that we know are common to their audience. We also have another client, Dante Valve, and this one's broken into sections by services, quality and compliance, ordering and logistics. So it's really specific to the user and their need. The questions and answers are we're really trying to get in the mind of what would people be asking in AI and having that conversational type content available for those AI engines.
Yeah, and a great exercise to do is to get with your sales team and spend an hour or so just asking the sales team what are the most frequently asked questions and concerns you hear from people, and let's organize those and let's get them on the website. Let me come back to the slides here. That is going to really help you showcase your thought leadership in a way that's super useful for AI engines. And then this is a big one. We still see blogs that have no attribution to authors, right? They're blogs, and you wonder, well, who wrote those blogs, right? What we're really focused on this year is getting blogs that are attributed to authors who are the thought leaders, and then those authors also have bio pages on the website. And they're not just bio pages that are, a couple paragraphs of their history. These are in-depth bio pages. And the reason this is important is because AI is going to be scanning to see who are the thought leaders in this space and who are the people that we want to recommend. So not only do we want your content showing up in AI, we want your people showing up. Ultimately, this is a great win-win for everyone in marketing because you want folks to connect with your people. And Ray, I know we've got some examples of what we call advanced bio pages or more thorough bio pages on websites. Let's take a look at those as well.
Yeah, you got it. I see a friend of mine who's in law firm marketing, and it's great to see you on the call. And law firms, PI law firms have been doing this forever. They tend to be out on the cutting edge doing some of this. And so again, one more thing that may be familiar, but I want to show you what the difference here. Here's a blog post that I wrote recently. You can see the attribution here on the blog page. And then when you click into it, there's that attribution again. And then the IW team did a great job putting this together, even made me look better than I really am here. So, but if you scroll through this page, what you'll see is um, sections. This one's about leadership, and then this is something that's more personally fly fishing. And but then I've got my kind of credentials here: CEO, COO. There's some things that look similar to LinkedIn as you go through this, and that's an important thing to have those connected and the same because the bio page and LinkedIn are just building that affirmation, confirmation of thought leadership, and that's telling my story in more than just one place. Leadership shaped by real world experiences. Another fishing picture. I love that. And then my take on what's changing. So some notes about how I see digital marketing right now, some content that I've been a part of publishing or some past webinars, some thoughts, some additional thoughts. And then this is one that we're just trying some new stuff here, but this is a section on what I'm reading and listening to. And the idea here is I listen to podcasts about artificial intelligence and agency profit. And so we're tying my interests and what's important to me to my bio. And this stuff is checking against LinkedIn and Facebook and articles that I've been a part of. and it's gathering the whole picture and the connection between the blog post I wrote and this and then the rest of the world, what it says about me is a really important thing that sets me apart as a thought leadership in my particular domain.
And all of this content will be looked at by AI. And so as people start to do searches, who is Ray Cameron at Intuitive Websites, right? Now the AI tool has some great content to summarize and to present. So that's we love the advanced bio pages, and so many of our clients have thought leadership, and that's one way to showcase the thought leadership is to get the thought leader have some fantastic pages for the thought leader.
Yeah, one more point I'll make on this, Tom, is going back to the earlier story about impressions going up and clicks going down. One of the things that we're doing because of clicks going down is spending more time in social media, publishing on LinkedIn. And there may be a bunch of people that see my content on LinkedIn and recognize my name, but never go to the website. And then one day think, oh, that Ray Cameron guy, he was writing about this. They do a search for Ray Cameron, and now this bio page, Tom, like you said, it's this page is set up to be found, and then those brand impressions are driving direct traffic or brand traffic, brand being both the company and my association with it. The journey bypasses our blog posts and all that stuff, and it's just connected from my name with my content on LinkedIn and then right to the website.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent. And then we want to make sure that our content's well organized. And we want, like I mentioned, we want to use headers, bullet points, and have themes around your content. And those themes are value-based and benefit focused, so they're not blocks of text that are brochure copy. This kind of website content then is what's going to get indexed in AI, and get your brand found in those brand impressions.
Tom, I've got a question that came up from somebody on
Yeah.
the call, and we're slowing down on this content section, but I would rather go deep into this than try and cover everything in case we do go long. But the question is, how can we address depth of content while avoiding brochure language?
Yeah, so let's talk about what is brochure language, right? So brochure language tends to be that marketing copy that really doesn't say anything, but it can be interchanged with other pieces of content, things like innovative solutions or excellent customer service, and stuff like that. We want to get right at the heart of the value you provide in your content. There's a great book out there called Don't Make Me Think. And that book is all about how people interact with digital content. And the book makes the point that most digital content can be cut in half and still say the same thing. So if you're looking at your brochure copy, put the real concrete words in there of what you do. Don't say that you provide solutions. Say what those solutions are specifically. And then what do those solutions mean for your customers, right? That's what that's about. And we've got a ton of resources on our website around content and benefit focused content, but that's a key focus for that. Because now we're writing for humans and machines, right? We're writing for this intelligent kind of new thing that's come on us with this AI, these machines that want to know about you and they want to display that content to queries and make it accurate and relevant. And AI is not just a tool, it's a new way of thinking about information. So the technology is so advanced that it's a huge disruption in what we're seeing in our day-to-day work. Number one, AI needs to be a personal assistant for anyone who's watching this. If you're not using AI as your own personal assistant right now and your competitors are doing that, they're getting an advantage. But when it comes to marketing, we want to think about AI as another way of representing your information. And your website structure has to be put in place properly to make that happen. Number one, there's got to be technical clarity for AI. And we're going to talk about the fundamentals of technical SEO and how that applies for AI. It really starts with your navigation or in organization clarity. And what I mean by this is that your navigation menus need to make sense. They need to be well organized. They need to pull people through a journey on your website. I mentioned the resources section and thought leadership sections. That needs to be clearly set up. And so I've seen a lot of websites where resources sections are scattered throughout the site, or they're under the About Us page or in a services section. No, have a section that's titled resources and put your thought leadership there. Have a section that's titled products and services, put your products and services there. Give AI clarity and ease of use for your navigation. And then when you start writing your content, and this is a great point around how to avoid brochure copy, talk about how your business does business. The processes you have at your company are unique to you. You should talk about those. And you don't want to give away all your secrets, right? But you want to talk about the processes, how you make things work. Talk about the people at your company. We showed you the advanced bio pages. And talk about the key products and services you provide and go into depth on those. And then, of course, really make it easy for people to contact you. We're going to see this show up in AI as well. And in fact, it's only a matter of time before a lot of folks start contacting you from an AI summary. So imagine that, right? They're going to do an AI summary. They're going to see your brand show up. They're going to see contact information in that AI summary, and they're going to reach out to you. So that all has to do with your website hierarchy. Ray, any thoughts on this? I know that a lot of this we've talked about for years under traditional SEO, but those fundamentals apply for AI as well.
Yeah, let me show a good example that brings a few of these things together. This is one of our clients' website dynamic group, and this is under that bullet that Tom mentioned about the resources section and thought leadership connected to it. So this is under resources. This is an ebook that's offered from DGI, and it's how to get the best results from your molding and tooling. Pretty standard page, although the team did a great job designing this. I love it. But down at the bottom, about the author, Matt Walters. I think, like blog posts, oftentimes companies have the blog just as a company blog post. But in this case, this ebook is actually attributed to a subject matter expert, so thought leadership. And then when you go over to the ebook, also, you get that authorship in here too. So this is just a good example of that resource section being comprehensive, really offering valuable insights, being attributed to a person, a real thought leader that's creating that content, not just company information.
It's so important and so valuable, and it's what humans want too, right? Humans want to know, well, who wrote this? What is that person's background? Can I reach out and talk to that person? This is ultimately the person that you're going to buy from when you start engaging and doing business with them. All right, let's come back to the slides. So content in the age of AI. So we want to follow the principles of EEAT. We've talked about this in all our webinars. Reference back to our previous webinars to learn more about EEAT. We also want to introduce the concept of vector data and cosine dependencies because this is what AI, this is the technical foundation that AI uses to organize your content in their summaries. Now, in the old days of digital marketing, we talked about keyword research and we talked about getting keywords on your website and making sure that the website is found for those key terms. That's going away. What's happening now is how is your website set up to be indexed by an AI search tool? And that's what's called vector data. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. You can Google it. You can go to AI and learn all about vector data. We have a blog post coming out on this. But if you're in digital marketing or marketing today, start being aware of what vector data is and how that functions. And then also be aware of cosine, what I call cosine dependencies, which is basically once the site's organized to get found in AI, then AI now has to make the dependencies between those phrases and content. And that's what's called cosine dependencies. We're creating a tool into websites to help our clients do this. Not only to analyze the website, figure out what's missing, but also make sure that this is happening in the sites we build. And when you think about the question about brochure copy, if an AI tool is going to index your site using vector data, it doesn't want brochure copy. It doesn't want words like innovative solutions, great customer service, or these vague marketing speak words. It needs the very specific things about what you do. Look for more coming on this topic from us. At some point, we'll probably do a webinar on that as well. Comprehensive summaries based on user intent. So this is really critical, especially for your key services pages, your products pages. Really need to understand the user intent and then make sure that copy meets that. This is then the path to a happy user and to getting found in AI summaries. It's so cool that to meet the needs of the AI, you're also really meeting the needs of your users as well. All right, so we've talked about Google, we've talked about content. Now let's talk about AI actually powering your website. And Ray and I have a vision that we feel is coming in the near future And that is that AI is going to supercharge your website so that now your website's interactive. It's actually a thing. It's not just a static thing out there with content. It's actually a thing people can talk to and interact with. So let's take a look at that. It's the concept of transitioning from a brochure to an intelligent resource. And this is what's key. And I want anyone watching this webinar to start putting the plans together to making your website an intelligent resource for users. And how are we going to do that? Well, basically, your website's going to talk back to users. It's going to have smart chatbots that are powered by AI that will interact with users. So the user can now go to a website and ask those detailed questions and have a conversation as opposed to hunting and fishing through your content. This has to be personalized to support the AI personas that you've created, right? So we've talked about this in other webinars. You want to use AI to create your personas and then make sure that all of these things are personalized on your website. Now, if you're going to create this personalized content for users using chatbots, you have to have your own resource base of content. So not only is all your content on your website fantastic for people to read, for AI tools to find, we're also going to create a custom ChatGPT or custom AI tool to organize that content so people can have a conversation around your content. So this is why it's so important to be writing those ebooks and those blogs and getting that content going. In Intuitive Websites, we've done a lot of this. We've created a ton of AI assistants in custom ChatGPT. I've created one for myself with all my books and all my content uploaded. And the output that you get from this is just mind-blowing, and it's fantastic. And it is the future of websites. And we can also take this content and with tools like HeyGen, we can create visual interfaces for the non-reader. So not only can AI agents talk to you, they can also have a video produced so that you can watch that video. I know from user testing that a lot of people do not read anything on websites. They scan, they look at photos and videos. So we want this content to be available for folks in a form that they like. And AI can help us with that. It's the concept of going from a static website to an interactive website. And as I said, to make this happen, you've got to get your content in order, create that custom ChatGPT so that you have the resources to power your AI tools. Now, one of the ways you can do this is by recording your company meetings. And those of us that have been in business for many years, we know that meetings can be a waste of time. No longer is that true. If you're recording your company meetings and you're getting that content uploaded to an AI tool, then everything said in that meeting has now been documented and it's moving your company forward. Make sure you do interviews with thought leaders. And I know, Ray, we've talked about this in other webinars, is there are content writers out there that are fantastic at doing interviews and getting that leadership out of you. Um, Tell us a little bit, Ray, about what your thoughts are about how we should interview thought leaders to get that content.
Yeah, we're doing some really cool thought leadership interviews and doing a little research on our side, almost in the same way we would do for a blog post or a content plan, and then bringing our findings from that into the interview with our clients, and we can give them the questions ahead of time so they can think about it. But we're just walking through questions, and we just want them to talk about what they're experts about and using questions as prompts. One of the things that we're finding is that we go in with the hope of getting a certain type of content and certain questions answered, and we come out of it with things that we never would have thought of. And so, if you can get thought leaders talking about what they're passionate about and what they're knowledgeable about, you're going to get things that they don't even know to write about, or you would never have known to research about. And we actually had a client just the other day ask if they could get the recording that we did of that interview so they could share it with their team, because there was stuff that they were saying in this interview that they hadn't even talked to their team about. And so this is one where we just kind of thought, hey, let's get natural language content. We just transcribe answers and put that in as natural as it can be. And we're finding it to be even more valuable than just a place for thought leadership content, but it's creating new ideas and helping the companies do things with their messaging as well.
Yeah, our content team, they're like investigators, right? They're like investigative reporters, right? They come at this with this intense curiosity to want to know more. And then when you have that, you start getting responses that people have never really even talked about. But that's what forms the heart of thought leadership. So get those interviews and get them recorded, upload those to your custom ChatGPT, and use them for blog posts and so forth. And then when you do this, you can start to train your AI chatbots to interact with customers in a certain way. So you can train your chatbot to, keep answers brief and to the point, to ask questions, to set up meetings and set up appointments, to give contact information. All of that can be done through training, and we have all kinds of tools we use for that. So a big action item for you from this webinar is start the process of launching an AI-powered chatbot on your website. Reach out to us. We can help you with this, or get out there and get that process going. HubSpot has a great tool for that. And there's lots of different ways to approach it.
So
Okay,
Tom, we have a question on this
sure.
in the chat from Andre, and the question is chatbot AI versus FAQ. How do we separate the right info? And I think the question, I think it's about getting the right info into the chatbot, and what content is that being fed from? I think that's the question. But can you talk, even if we're off a little bit? But I think this is good. Having chatbots, what information is feeding them, and how do we control that?
Well, yes. So our philosophy is that all information should be feeding them, and you're going to have to write in some cases new content to feed these chatbots. Frequently asked questions should certainly be in the chatbot, and you can train the chatbot on how to lean on those questions, and you can even take the discussions that you see and train the chatbot with new questions as you see users ask new questions, right? Now, keep in mind that I'm talking about things that are to come. A lot of folks still don't use these AI chatbots. They've been burned by bots in the past and they just don't like them. But that's going to change. Once people see that the chatbots are intelligent, they're powered by AI, you're going to see more people interacting with them. And then our role is going to be to keep them updated, keep the content flowing, and keep the chatbot trained properly so it keeps the conversation focused. But some people will still go to your frequently asked questions page and just read those questions, right?
Yeah.
And all of that will get indexed as well in AI search.
I think one of the things people are going to be asking the question more and more is why even have a website? If people are getting their answers in AI, why have a website? And then is it just going to be seen less and less? Which actually, that's, with a decrease in clicks, that is the story. But I think with the chatbot, as it is adopted more, what we might see is that even the visitors to our website are seeing less of our website because they can go into our chatbot, get the information that they need because they know exactly what they want, and it's like they're getting the information from a page without ever having to go to the page, and they might go right from a chatbot conversation to clicking on the request a consultation button and becoming a lead for you with viewing one page and having a chat. I think that's the direction things are going for a lot of websites.
Well, yeah, your website will still be the channel, right? It'll be the place that people tune into. And I don't think that's going anywhere.
No.
And it actually brings up a good point. It's more important now than ever to make sure your domain name matches your company name, right? So we're Intuitive Websites. Our domain name is intuitivewebsites.com. It's not, intwebcorp.com. No, it's intuitivewebsites.com. Have your brand name match your domain name because it is the channel people come to, right? And ultimately, you can give a personality to these AI agents, right? So you can go one step further, and these AI agents can actually be either a person at your business or they could be an avatar you create. But that's where we're heading, is that into this field of AI agents. And right now, it's so interesting because we're at the beginning stages of this. So it's kind of like it's anything's up for grabs right now. But in the future, in the near future, we're going to want to see the AI agent for a brand and have a conversation with them. I mentioned this was coming. This is the concept of your website's technology and why that's important. Websites must have a solid technical foundation to get found in AI search. And I'll go over a few of those things. Title tags, meta descriptions, H1 tags, H2 tags, H3 tags. These are absolutely critical, and they need to be of value, and they need to make sense. Now, the change is instead of the focus on keywords, the focus is more on user intent. And I think you can actually do both those things, right? Because keywords can also meet user intent. And you've got to cover the traditional technical SEO fundamentals. Working with an SEO company now is more important than ever. And I would ask your SEO company, hey, do you all cover AI search as well? Tell me how you work with vector data and cosine. Structured data and schema markup. And this is so important because the AI tools are picking this up as well, as is what we see. Ray, do you want to talk a little bit about what structured data and schema markup are?
Yep, this is another one of those things that's not unfamiliar. It is a little more technical, not something that just anyone writing content and posting it on a page is gonna do. But these two ideas are really it's data about data. It's the signals within your web page that's saying this is what this page is about, even though the website says what it is. And so uh, a lot of some familiar ones are if it's a product, it's tagged as a product. If it's a location, it's tagged as a location. But I think in the past it was like, you look at those things and go, hey, we should tag the product, we should tag the service. But now we got to be looking at the page and going, what can be tagged here with schema markup that even though it says what we do, we tag it to confirm what we do, and it helps the search engines and the AI engines interpret that and be really clear with what the content's about.
Yeah, and think about the concept of schema markup answering questions, right? The concept that the coding on your website is focused on answering needs and answering questions, because that's where AI is taking us. We also want to optimize our images and video, and we're seeing I think AI is going to be playing a big role in video. I mean, it's already happening now, but I think for B2B marketing, that's coming where your explainer videos and so forth will be produced by AI. And then, like I said, answer first content in blocks of text with headers. So you want the content to focus on answering questions and needs and have a header that does that above your block of content or bullet points. That's kind of how we want to organize this on your product services pages throughout your website. Okay. And we are a big proponent of using bullet points that are scannable as opposed to the blocks of text. And this is another area where brochure copy is a block of text, but a bullet point are the value added benefits, right? The key things that people want. All
Tom, we
right,
have
so yeah,
We have one more question here from Gordon. Can you clarify the term user intent? And I'll take this one. The Where user intent came about in the evolution of search is that the old days it was about keywords. You just type in a keyword, you get a result. And user intent now, what it's tied to is when somebody does a search, the platforms actually know what they mean. And so different terms have different intent behind them. So one term might be just about education, another term might be about actually wanting to decide what services to pursue or decision to make. And so we have to be thinking about how the content on the page matches the person's intent who's going to be there. So if it's a services page, we better be talking about the services we provide. And that's a really simple thing. But it's the search engines actually getting in the mind of the people based on what they're typing. And also the fact that these search engines have a little history on us and know our progression towards that question or term. And it's taking the whole package and giving us the content based on what we intend, not just the simple term itself.
yeah, we're going to look at some examples here in a second, and that's a great question. It's where we can actually show you real life examples of what user intent looks like. And a lot of websites try to do too much to too many users. They try to meet the needs of they try to meet user intent in too many areas. And so when they do that, they end up looking complicated or cluttered and they're not meeting anyone's intent. So yeah, so let's talk about conversions and usability, UX and usability, because website users are looking for value. So how is this changing in the age of AI? Well, the payoff here is that you want conversations, and conversations are the payoff, right? These conversions where people raise their hand and they're not anonymous anymore, and then they start a conversation with your brand. This is the payoff. So if this is the goal, how do we make that happen? Well, I'm going to challenge you that one of the best ways to drive conversions is with great taglines and headers. And this needs to be on your services pages, your about pages. These taglines and content headers are where it's going to move people to action, especially if they're benefit focused. And then think of the concept of landing pages based on user intent. So, like, for example, you might have a website that has a lot of different services on it, but one of the services you offer is a conference. You have a conference that you put on every year. So you want a landing page for that conference, right? You want people to hit the landing page and then their user intent is to register and learn about this conference. That's what they see on that page. And I know you might be saying, well, of course, that's common sense, but I'll show you examples of websites that really struggle with this. And then the smart AI chatbot and sales assistant is a key conversion point. And these are things that can be measured. You'll see people interact with your chatbots. That's a conversion. That's movement in the funnel. And then the call to actions make all the difference. The call to actions are things that capture an email address, that get someone to contact you, that move people forward in your funnel. In the age of AI, I would really encourage you all to test different CTAs. And also, please, please, please have your phone number easy to see on your website. Phone number conversions are still fantastic. And if people are on their phone, they'll click your phone number and that's a conversion. And as I said, test, measure, and refine. You could see all this stuff in your data, and the data will show the story. Website visitors now are more valuable than ever because of what's happening with website traffic. So let's have great conversion points for those folks.
All right, I have an example for us on this one.
Yeah.
This is one of our clients, dynamic group. We saw them earlier, and this is a before and after of their web design that we did. On the left is the old design, and on the right is the new one. And you can see on the left one, the text kind of gets mixed up with the background. There's not enough contrast there. There's two boxes that are calls to action. One is read more and one is see more. And their brand name is the title of that banner on the left. So on the right, precision molding, medical grade, industrial speed. I think that says to the audience what it's about. There's a great brief paragraph underneath that tells more, and then a request to quote. And this is a good example where somebody may have done their research before ever getting to the site and know enough about them to make a decision and ready to request a quote and engage in a conversation. And so this header right here may have all the information they need to take the step from a familiarity with a brand to a decision to reach out and contact them.
Yeah, and it's so much stronger because not even is it more focused, it has that request a quote button. And so why would someone want to read more or see more when they're right there on your website? They can read more and see more right there on your website. But the request a quote is a great CTA. It moves people to action. That's a great example. All right, let me come back. All right, so let's wrap up the training portion and let's go online and look at a few websites. And Ray, I'm not sure if you have a few ready to go, but I've got one teed up if we need it. So let's update the content on our website with a focus on user intent and real benefits. And there's lots of content on our website about how to do that, but that's a key part of what you want to do in the age of AI. Get interactive AI tools on your website. Start with that smart, intelligent chatbot that you have fed content to, that you have trained. Get your content posted on industry websites. And this is key because of that impression chart we saw earlier. There's so many brand impressions showing up from different areas. You've got to get your content on your industry websites, more important than ever. We don't do it necessarily for the link exchanges like we used to do. We do it more to get the brand out there. And then make sure you cover the technical SEO foundations. That's just such an easy thing to do. You can connect with an SEO firm, get that done. That foundations need to be set up, and that's a great place to start. We're going to take some action, and I want to give you all some practical examples of how to do this. I encourage you all to pick up my book, Digital Marketing, the Age of AI, that goes into great detail on all these things we've talked about. And of course, you can book a follow-up time with us. You can use this barcode here to get in and schedule a time or email me directly, whatever works for you, whatever's easier. And we can do a dive into your website. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. Ray, do we have any sites we want to bring up or?
Yeah, we do. I was recently at a small group event where the presenter was doing a review of people's websites, and I was a little nervous about putting ours up there because we're a digital marketing agency. But we can always do better. Ended up not getting around to looking at the intuitive website site, but I was eager to see that and always welcome people critiquing because there's always room to improve. But we have a number of people that were bold enough to say, take a look at my site. And so just be ready. Tom has great insights and is going to give you honest opinion. But I picked one here because we're it's in the manufacturing industry, and we've got a significant chunk of our clients are in the manufacturing world. But this one uh, is Tibo Engineering and Tooling for Plastics. I sent a link to you, and it's TIBO. Oh, actually, yeah, I know what you're doing here. TIBO.
I'm gonna start. Is it TIBO?
Yes,
And you said manufacturing?
it's Tibo Plastics.
Plastics, okay.
And
So let's
Vincent,
start with looking at the brand name and how the brand name shows up in Google search. And there we go. So this is your title tag, which I mentioned. And we put content in here. The expert in plastic engineering and tooling made a claim. And then we've got a dated meta description. We can control that. That can be updated. Interesting. Okay, yeah, let's dive in and take a look.
the starting there with the brand name is a great test because when your brand name is unique, you're going to show up in the top of the search results right like that. If your brand name is more general, it's a little bit harder to get it number one, especially if somebody else shares that name. So you've got an advantage there. And Vincent, thanks for offering the site to let us take a look at.
So one of the things that I talked about was direct and clear content. So from ideation to fulfillment, that is a good example of what I would call brochure copy. It's also a slogan, not a tagline. But we can make this so much more powerful by getting the words plastic engineering and tooling into this line. So your guide for plastic engineering and tooling from ideation to fulfillment. So look at how I just gave so much more substance to that tagline. And then I do like that you have what appears to be a real photo of real people, um, real engineers, and then experience our expertise today. I would either, transition this to get a quote or speak to an engineer because we want the website to be the experience of the expertise. We don't want another click for that. We want to see it right here. Here's another example of brochure copy. Time. Let us be the partner who understands and delivers on this. So instead of saying in vague terms what that you want to be a partner, what kind of partner? What kind of work? What kind of time? Let's get the details in there. Everybody offers a cost-effective quality solution, right? And this is broke. We can remove that line. It's not even needed. AI wouldn't know what to do with this line, right? Let's get to what actually does set you apart. And here we go. Innovative, high performance production projects. So I would challenge you to say that this is not what sets you apart. Everybody does these things. But there are some things that you do that are your processes at your business or the people that work there that set you apart. So we needed to dive deeper into this thought leadership. So there's something about the start to finish that's important, and there's something about the engineering partner. I think we want to lean more on that. And we talked about advanced bio pages and how important those are. This would be a great place to showcase the experience of your people in making these things happen. I do like the numbers. I like that you build a story with that. It shows that you are large. But yeah,
Yeah,
this is
Tom.
it's a great example of moving from brochure copy to that real concrete language.
Yeah, Tom, I know you didn't have time to look through that data, but I tried to scan through it. One of the things that really stood out is the 25 plus. 25% and up faster on the market is what our customers achieve partnering with us. That is a real distinguishing um, trait and something that if that's even more visible than it is, it's great that it's here because I think people will look through this and want to know what you're saying. But that is a real differentiator, especially when you can put a number to it and compare it to something else. And that seems like a legitimate claim that's, I think, pretty compelling.
It's in and I've seen a lot of websites like this recently in my talks in Vistage and Tech Canada is nice design website, nice use of photos, nice layout of and so forth. But it's that transition from that brochure copy to this direct value added copy. That's what's going to move the needle on this website, right? Positioning folks on the website as the hero and you're their guide. And this is a bit buried, right? I think this that could come more front and center. That might even be something um, for your homepage. I mean, for the homepage banner. Let's do one thing. I want to show the group the AI mode. So I mentioned Google's AI mode. If you see this button here, this is new. At some point, we feel like this is going to be Google. This is what Google will look like. So let's do Tebow Plastics. Whoops. And let's see what comes up in Google's AI mode.
Tom, while you're doing that, I just want to say I'm putting a link to our free website review in the chat. And so I know some people may jump off. I actually saw a couple people just jump off, but um, if you're interested in getting a more custom review, if you fill out that form, we'll get back to you and set something up. Tom's the one that'll connect with you on that. So if we have 5 minutes left, but in case people are jumping off for their next meeting, we're grateful for that you're here, and we'll put some more information about how to contact us in just a minute. But that link you can use if you want to actually get a review from us.
That sounds great. Thanks, Ray. If you look at the AI summaries here for Tebow Plastics, we got some work to do. And I'll tell you what the work is. We have got to have our differentiators in this content. Because as I scan through the content and read what's here, that you are doing what everyone else is doing. And you're in the automotive sector and you do molding and plastics, but we've got to get differentiators in here. And that's where that value added content on your website will get picked up in AI, and then the AI experience will be great for people to see why you're different, why you're better. Talk about your processes, showcase your people, talk about the things you do that no one else does in the industry.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
and I want to go back to what we talked about earlier with thought leadership interviews. This is a great example of where that can be really valuable. Is it's easy to get into the this is what we do and have it sound like everyone else, but I'm sure that Tebow Plastics is not like everyone else. There's some data that we ran across on that homepage, and we've got to get that folded into the story. And I think that example we shared earlier about a thought leadership interview that we did with a client, they were saying things that they wouldn't have even known to put on a website. And it's those things that are going to jump out and feed that AI mode result and set it apart from others.
yeah, it's a great point. And in fact, you can tie that into your feedback from your customers too. Go to your customers and ask them a question. Ask them why they buy from you. In fact, ask your customers to tell you the three reasons they buy from you. And if you ask enough customers that question, you'll start to see that people buy from you from very simple, straightforward reasons. And you're going to be surprised. You're going to hear some things you did not expect. That's the stuff we want to put on this website, right? Because that ultimately is why people engage with your brand. We could probably look at one more site, Ray, or I've got one teed up as well. Do we have any others?
Why don't you go do the one you've got teed up
Okay,
since you know it and we'll be able to get through it quicker. We have 2 minutes and 18 seconds.
let's get through this in a couple minutes. So, a lot of you have heard of EOS. EOS is a hugely popular system for running your business. The book Traction is an EOS book, and Intuitive Websites is an EOS company, so we love EOS. But I've been spending time on their website, and I have to tell you that the website needs some work, right? And when we talked about that divergence in user intent, you can see it on this website. This website's trying to meet the user intent of so many different people that I think it's missing the boat, right? So let's just look at some user intent examples here. Um, well, I didn't even mean to do this. Become an EOS coach. Okay, that's one. Attend our conference in Kansas City. That's one. Every great business runs on a great system. Okay, that's a different potential. And then there's testimonials here that we're using. So this website desperately needs that sense of focus on the homepage, right? What is the purpose of the site? What is the intent of the homepage? And are they looking to add more EOS companies? Are they looking to get implementers? Are they looking to people to come to their conference? Are they looking to sell books? What is the site doing? I would challenge EOS to say that this website is for the new business person that does not know about EOS to get an introduction to it. And that's what the user intent should be, a simplified version of content that introduces people to EOS. Because think about it for a second. If you already know EOS and you're on this homepage, it's just pulling you in a bunch of different directions. But if you're new to EOS and you want to start engaging in that funnel, that's where this website can get a major impact. This is also an example of a website that was designed with EOS as the hero, right? So the website basically just is talking about how great EOS is. It should be talking about the benefits people get from EOS and the real value people have seen from implementing EOS. Not a big fan of the picture here because the picture is all about them. They got a book, they got a workbook. That's fantastic. But we want to put the focus on the actual user, and that's at the heart of user intent. So I hope that was helpful for folks to see an example. There's probably some EOS companies out there.
Nice job, Tom. You want to put up the screen with the QR code, and
Yeah,
we'll
let's push up on that.
we'll leave that up as people are leaving. Thank you all for being here. We'll let this run for another 30 seconds or so that you get this information. But we're thrilled to have so many people. Great questions. Thanks for offering your websites for us to review. And keep an eye on our website. We'll have another webinar coming up soon. That blog post on vectors and
Yeah.
cosine will be coming out soon, and lots of other great information there. So thanks for joining us, Tom. Great to do this with you again.
Yep. Great.
And
Great. Thanks, everybody.
thanks.